This is Studio Bangla Network. And do you know what's that which decides the winner of a war? Is it the size of the army? Is it military strength? Or is it who has control of the sea? Because controlling the sea gives you the upper hand to cut off resources and supplies, to attack and escape unseen, and to make your enemy bleed without being detected yourself. And if you think having a navy is a prerequisite for all of this, then let me tell you about a secret naval force no one talks about. Not even today, the Bangladesh Liberation War Museum. Let me introduce you to Sea Shadow. Now, before we dive into the story, let's set the stage. The year is 1971, and the location is Bangladesh. There's a war raging here, a war for independence. But forget tanks, artillery, and airstrikes, because this war is happening on the water, beneath the water. It's a shadow war, and Bangladesh is fighting with shadows. Now, why does Bangladesh have to be sneaky? Well, that's because their biggest fear is the Pakistan Navy. See, when Pakistan was formed in 1947, it got a nice present from the British. 2 big ports, Chittagong and Mongla. These ports were like gold for Pakistan. They controlled the lifeline of trade and communication. Not only that, Pakistan had a bigger navy than Bangladesh, well equipped with modern ships and weapons. So for Bangladesh, a direct confrontation was a suicide mission. They needed another way, a silent way to strike back. That's how the Liberation War unfolded. March to December 1971 was a crazy time. Entire nation was involved in the fight for independence. Whether it was through armed rebel groups called Mukti Bahini, or by simply providing food and shelter to those in need. And in this massive struggle, there was a group of people who chose to fight in the most unusual way, through the art of stealth. But let's pause for a moment. What could be the possible motives behind such a move? Well, here are a few. Firstly, it's easier to sink a ship than spot a submarine. This made it challenging for the Pakistani Navy to detect and neutralize their threat. Secondly, submarines can deliver powerful payloads right under an enemy's nose, causing significant damage before disappearing again. Finally, they provided an element of surprise. Pakistan didn't anticipate this tactic, making it harder to defend against these underwater attacks. Now, where did this idea come from? Well, some say it came from watching Hollywood movies, while others claim it was inspired by Russia's submarine warfare in World War II. But whatever the inspiration, they're about to embark on something never seen before in the region. In fact, the story goes back to India. During the war, the Indian Navy launched Operation Trident. Its goal was to train guerrilla forces from Mukti Bahini in submarine warfare. Now, why did India help? Well, this war wasn't just about Bangladesh. It was part of India's own struggle against Pakistan. Remember, both nations were born out of British India, but they couldn't see eye to eye. There were border disputes and tensions. So helping Bangladesh was like siding with a friend in a street fight. On June 6, 1971, a bunch of Bengalis got together in Calcutta. Now, Calcutta, they created the Mukti Bahini Naval Wing, codenamed Naukadal, which means river warriors. And let me tell you, these guys weren't your typical sailors. They left their regular jobs and took on a risky mission, fighting in the shadows. Some were businessmen, some were students, but they all shared one goal: to free their homeland. These warriors didn't sail the seas, they sailed the rivers. Why? Well, Bangladesh is full of rivers, more than 700 of them. It's like a watery maze. It's made it hard for Pakistan's big navy ships to enter. Plus, these waters were perfect for small boats and sneaky operations. The training was tough. Led by Indian officers, these civilians learned guerrilla tactics and marine sabotage. They practiced underwater demolition, spying, and escaping. Imagine learning these skills for the first time in your life, while the war is raging outside. They also made their own weapons. Handmade sea mines that look like ordinary things, maybe a barrel or a water tank. But don't be fooled. Inside these containers were explosives that could sink a ship. Now, you might be wondering how they planted these bombs. It wasn't easy. They needed to sneak close to their targets, attach the explosives, and then swim away quickly. If they were caught, it meant risking capture, or worse. But these warriors were up for the challenge. They preferred death to capture. As the training went on, these civilian-turned warriors became experts in planting and detonating underwater mines, sinking enemy vessels, and gathering intel. They learned to work in the dark, literally, often operating at night to avoid detection. By September 1971, they were ready. The Indian Navy gave them one final test, Operation Jackpot. It took place in October 1971 in the port of Chittagong. The plan was to create maximum chaos and damage. And let me tell you, these warriors delivered. Working under the cover of darkness, they planted their homemade bombs on merchant ships and Pakistani naval vessels. Then, in a thrilling climax, they detonated the explosives, causing massive damage and confusion. Bombs exploded, ships were damaged, and everything was plunged into darkness. And guess what? This was just the beginning. Over the next few months, these brave souls carried out similar missions across various ports, including Mongla and Narangong, sinking Pakistani gunboats and supply vessels. In fact, they sank more than 50 enemy ships and damaged many more. Meanwhile, the world had no clue. Western media barely covered the Liberation War. Everyone was focused on the land battle, the war between armies. No one paid attention to what was happening under the surface. And you know what? They kept it that way. For Bangladesh, secrecy was the superpower. It was the key to their survival and success. Just imagine if Pakistan knew what was going on. They might have taken action to stop it. But by keeping it secret, Bangladesh had the element of surprise. This meant they could attack when and where Pakistan least expected it, making their missions more effective. Plus, it added an extra layer of challenge for Pakistan to deal with. They couldn't focus on defending against invisible threats. So in the end, the Western world would never fully grasp the scale of this shadow war. They could unsee the damage done to Pakistan's navy and trade vessels, because it happened beneath the surface, silently leaving them clueless about the extent of Bangladesh's naval warfare. So who were these heroes of the deep? Well, their names are etched in history, at least in Bangladesh. People call them Mukti Navy or the Unseen Force. But let me tell you, most of them remain unnamed. They sacrificed their lives for their country, but they didn't seek fame or recognition. Maybe they just wanted to get back home safely. Sadly, their bravery isn't widely known, not in school books or in the news. It's like their story was written in water, disappearing with time. But that doesn't mean their impact was any less. Their actions saved countless lives and cut off supplies for Pakistan. They played a big part in winning the war. In fact, you could say they were the silent force behind Bangladesh's victory. So here's to the Mukti Navy, the unseen force, the forgotten heroes of the deep. They fought in silence so we could live in freedom. And their story makes us wonder, what other tales lie beneath our waves? What other stories are hidden beneath the surface of our history? Well, that's where our journey begins. It's a Studio Bangla Network, where we bring you stories that connect you to your roots, stories that make you proud to be Bengali. So subscribe to our network and join us every Monday and Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. You can also check out our previous episodes by visiting our channel or by searching for us online. Don't forget to share this video with your friends and family. Together, let's keep these stories alive.